This video was recorded in front of a live virtual audience. Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to the Fragrant Bunker. The fashion bunker of perfume is my perfume shrine. Today we're going to be reviewing Tonka Imperiale by Guerlain. I have a little sample here of one of their kind of, special L'Art the Art and the Matter. L'Art La Matière, or whatever you want to pronounce it in French. Tonka Imperiale is one of these little babies. Do I have anything here? No, it's all faded. Whatever I had there is gone. Long gone. So, not l'envant, long gone. Long gone. So let me spray it on. Oh, hunty. Oof. Okay. Okay. Tonka Imperiale by Guerlain. What do we got here? 2010. Oh, so it is celebrating 12 years since its inception. Thierry Vasser is the nose behind Tonka Imperiale Amber fragrance for women and men. Thank God they're telling us it's unisex, because as if we didn't know. Top notes. Bitter almond, rosemary, bergamot. Mid notes, tonka bean, tobacco, jasmine. Base notes, incense, cedar, pine. Now, immediately I smell really bitter almond and rosemary. But with tonka, it always pops up. And tonka has that mushy, gourmandy, sweet, overly sickly pastry smell that you overeat, like eating marzipan. And it's too much at a certain point, and you just like, and that's what tonka bean does to me. Worst case scenario is the tonka bean that they do in one of the Dior Collection Privée fragrances. Which one was it? I talk about it in my entire Collection Privée analysis video live stream, which is like 4 hours long. You can also check that out on my channel. That one is just like too much. But this one is a little bit more toned down. Before we continue the review, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. So thank you for that. And thumb up this video if you're liking it. Yeah, and marzipan, 100%. It's made of almonds, so it's an almondy smell that kind of, but then tonka bean connected to this. Jasmine, tobacco. So the tobacco here, it's very subtle, very elegant, I gotta say. Incense, cedar, and pine. Now, you know what? This thing is this is the first time that a tonka bean is not too... Yeah, thank you, Letty. This video is being filmed live, by the way. I live stream every Saturday on my main superdacob channel. Be sure to tune in every Saturday. Everybody's invited to join, and I have my live chats running at the same time. And Letty says, Fève Délicieuse. That's the tonka bean fragrance from the Collection Privée, Christian Dior range. That one I cannot stand. That tonka bean is a mushy, marzipan-y, gooey, thick, olfactive, like, it just fills you and you can't swallow anymore. This one, very, very interesting. Something about this one. Marzipan, says Dixie. Thank you, Dixie. Interesting. Jack says, I will always swallow. Make it safe though, honey. Hmm. It doesn't overpower me with the jasmine, but boy, does Guerlain know how to do Tonka Bean. Because you know what? When you compare, okay, because Letty mentioned no Fève Délicieuse, if we were to like put these two side by side, Femme Delicieuse compare like fades in comparison because it is just such a loud, sickly smell. While this one really tends to make Tonka Bean elegant. Trina Garrity says Guerlain, Tonka, nutty, vanilla, sweet, and a little smoky. Yeah, it is a bit nutty. Of course, it's vanilla. It's Guerlain. It is smoky. And in fact, we have incense in this. It's very nice, you guys. Mm. Ah, you know what? Um, really, really fascinating how Thierry Vassia balances out the more incensey church vibes with this tonka bean that can go super sweet. And he dominates it because he doesn't add almonds, he adds bitter almonds. And then he sprinkles some bergamot on top, which creates an even more astringent smell. And then he adds rosemary, and rosemary is a very green, crisp smell, which is the opposite of the tonka bean. But then he enhances the tonka bean with tobacco, but it's an interesting choice because the tobacco um, is also a smoky smell, but it's a wet smell. It can be sweet, but it can also smell leathery. So that kind of contrasts the tonka bean. Jasmine, the jasmine can be sickly sweet, depending on if we're talking about sambac or grandiflorum. But in this case, I almost want to say this is jasmine sambac. It smells more like a night blooming a jasmine. And then we got incense, cedar, and weirdly enough, pine. Pine in the bass notes. Pine is usually something you play with mid top notes. But putting pine in the bass notes really freshens up this whole concoction. Very clever, very warm, comforting smell. Generic long term. Let me tell you, it smells of a generic safety. You know, it doesn't smell of a groundbreaking, oh my gosh, I crave this all the time type of smell. It's a comforting smell, like something I would want my dad or granddad to wear because, like, I want to feel safe always because they make me feel safe. So, this is a smell I would want them to wear because it would just make me feel cozy. You know, oh, dad is there and he smells like cozy. Unique Rivera says Tonka is a hit or miss for me. Some fragrances uh, use it well and others overdo it. And it's just yuck. Yeah, and Fève Délicieuse for me is overdoing it. But this one, Ollie says, I love Tonka Bean in my cocktails. You know, there is a slight hint of that Tonka Bean vanilla smell that the Cabbage Patch Kids are scented with. Now I know, you know, I reviewed another perfume by Yop, Le Bain, the bubble, the bath perfume by Yop, and that one totally smells like a Cabbage Patch Kid, fresh out of the box. That powdery scented little, you know, those little cheeks of a Cabbage Patch Kid, they always smell so delicious. Um, this one is very similar. Like, it has a similar echo of Yop's Le Bain and of this Cabbage Patch Kids smell. Now, Cabbage Patch Kids were really big in the 80s, but they're still in production today. And you can still buy them. Now, they have like, it's really rare to find them with the wool hair. Usually you get them now with the like a Barbie hair. Like they look so gross with the Barbie hair. But I do have one with a Barbie hair as well. But well, anyway, long story short, all of them are scented with this kind of Tonka beanie baby smell. Dondism says, not Cabbage Patch Kids, lol. Yes, Cabbage Patch Kids. It's amazing. I love Cabbage Patch Kids. And it does have a Cabbage Patch Kids smell. Obviously, much more sophisticated, much more rounded, much more deep. Ollie says, Cabbage Patch Kids luckily don't smell like cabbage. They don't. They smell like baby powder, tonka bean, almonds. Like, if you get Le Bon by Yop, you basically are smelling a Cabbage Patch Kid, and it's a delicious, gourmandy, powdery concoction, Yop Le Bon, and it is a cheapie. Now, on the opposite side of the spectrum, we get Tonka Imperiale by Guerlain, which is not a cheapie at all, darling. It is quite the opposite of a cheapie. This one is a very expensive. It is in the most expensive range of the mass release fragrances by Guerlain within their L'Art La Matière collection. And it just received a price increase last October/November of 2021. So you're going to be spending a pretty penny on these bottles if you want the perfume. I do believe that I would get annoyed by this smell long term because the Tonka bean does contribute to oversaturation of myself. Joanna, thank you so much for subscribing. It oversaturates me. It does create... okay, there is also... The Tonka bean has that marzipan thing, but also Play-Doh. Like a Play-Doh, overly sweetened Play-Doh smell to it, which if you smell it all the time, and Tonka bean has a tendency of lingering for hours and hours. It lingers. It does not go away. You get sick of it, And that's the problem with me and Tonka bean. I'm not... Like, depends how this will develop on my skin. Like, is it gonna... Because now I'm starting to smell out the cedar, which is in the base notes. And I'm not a fan of cedar either. I'm not a fan of cedar wood either. So I'm like, okay, so now I feel like the cedar wood and the Tonka bean are battling it for who's going to win. I really want to I want to smell out more incense and pine. I feel like the incense is disappearing. The pine is not showing itself. I had the feeling that it was, and in fact, I was surprised that they put pine in the base notes because pine is a more fresh smell. So you would, because rosemary, pine is like rosemary. They're needly plants. They look kind of similar, right? So pine in the top notes with rosemary would have been more interesting. I mean, would have at least smelt of something, because right now it's not giving me the pine. It's giving me cedar battling tonka. And because I'm annoyed by cedar. Too much tonka annoys me as well. So it's like, it's an interesting moment in the moment. Now, I know that this one has its fans. I know that a lot of people really love it and they keep repurchasing it and they just love it to bits. But like you guys are saying in the chats, I do believe that with Tonka, and it's, I know that Unique said, oh, it's a hit or miss. Sometimes Tonka can be good, sometimes can be bad. Depends how you do it in a perfume. But not just that. I feel like Tonka is a hit or miss depending on the person. Some people are Tonka people and some people are not Tonka bean people. I'm not a Tonka bean person. Just like some people are oud people and some are not. I'm kind of generally not an oud person. I'm more of a floral person than I am a seed person. So I love tuberose. I love jasmine. I love rose. I love May rose. I love ilang ilang, the buttery ilang ilang. And of course I love labdanum, which is kind of the transition. The smell of labdanum is a transition between a flower and a resinous-y, leathery smell, but it's moist. But I love those smells, you know, and seeds and woods, eh. Michelle Crawford says, so Cabbage Patch Kid and Play-Doh in the woods with marzipan. Yeah, Michelle, kind of. It's like, okay, what are we high on that we came to this conclusion, right? What is Dacob talking about? Well, I'm going through the holistic experience of living this perfume through visions, you know, because I'm smelling it and I'm trying to envision the story it's telling me. And it is telling me a story of an abandoned toy that has never been opened. It's still in pristine condition. Somehow you find it in the forest. You want to love it, but you feel it's out of place there. It doesn't really belong in that place because it is an artificial toy made by humans, but it's never been unboxed in a natural landscape, a forest. How did it get there? How come it never got destroyed? And why is the box surrounded with marzipan smell, even though inside of the box, the actual toy smells of, well, it's a Cabbage Patch Kid, so it smells of a Cabbage Patch Kid. Isn't that fascinating? Jack says the underside is lighter when you turn it around. Mm. Michelle says, who brought the marzipan? We don't know. Was it a witch from Hansel and Gretel? Is she in this forest? Did the witch... Now we're getting somewhere. Is the witch on her way to her little candy and cookie house? And on her way there, she was taking toys to lure kids in, and she dropped a toy on her way to her killer house. Uh, and the marzipan is there as well because of that witch that is there, you know, wants to kill Hansel and Gretel. There is danger in this smell, and we are in the woods because we got rosemary and we got pine and cedar. So we are in the woods, in these cedar tree, pine tree woods. The Douglas fir, the majestic Douglas firs, as they call them in Twin Peaks. It's dangerous, you guys. It's not in a good way. Pine and cedar, and you're walking through, and then there's this Cabbage Patch doll, and it smells of marzipan is there as well, and like, who left it there? The witch is, and the closer the witch gets to you, and the more you smell the tonka bean. And now you know how much I like tonka bean. I was like, stay away from me. And of course, Louis comes out of the woodwork, is like, ooh, it sounds like I would like it. Louis, yeah, this could be your cup of tea. I could imagine you liking it. The horror, says Trina Garrity. Michelle says, have you ever eaten marzipan? I have. Nothing like it. Maybe we can make a Kit Kat with marzipan. Yes, I have tried marzipan many a times in my life. Um, it's a heavy thing. It's a lot of almonds. Debbie says, it sounds unique, maybe. It does sound unique. It does smell unique, although we know tonka bean very well. Tonka bean is its own smell. You cannot confuse tonka bean for something else. And if you just don't like the base of tonka bean, you're not going to like any perfume with tonka. No matter how expensive or how well blended these fragrances are, if you do not like tonka bean, you just will never like a perfume with tonka beans in them. Bottom line, because the tonka bean is so intense that it will cover up every other ingredient. And in fact, it covered up the almonds, the rosemary, the bergamot, the tobacco. It even covered up the tobacco. It covered up the jasmine, the pine, the incense. It covered up everything. Like, this is tonka bean, basically. Oh my God. Ooh, I got chills. Okay. So you know this trick that I sometimes use. Hold on. Gotta clean the nose because really like clean it to. Hold on. Oh, okay. So this trick that I sometimes use, which is to um, warm up the spot where you spray the perfume after a certain while, and you kind of heat it up with your nose, you blow hot air onto it, and then you inhale after you popped all the molecules open, and then you get to smell the secret smells inside a perfume. And if it's a really good perfume, you're going to smell a lot of amazing stuff. If it's a very, very cheap perfume, you're just going to smell acid. But this stuff is good because when I popped it with my heat, when I popped its cherry, then I get the pine, and it is beautiful. But you're killing the perfume by heating it up like that. You pop it open, and it's kind of dead after. But the pine is beautiful in here. It's just really hard to smell it out, and it is this forest with this witch. It is dangerous. It's scary. The woods are hauntingly beautiful, but they are almost like disappearing. And then you really do arrive to the the candy house of Hansel and Gretel, and you know there's only death inside. So it's a dangerous one. Thank you so much, Unique. Rivera said, absolutely divine live stream as usual, as always. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Have a wonderful night, sweetie. Sending lots of light and love to you all. Thank you. Thank you. You too. Jack asks, where are the woods located geographically? Um, Somewhere California. Actually, Vertigo, Hitchcock's Vertigo, those woods. We are in Hitchcock's Vertigo woods. You know what I mean? From Vertigo, those secular trees that have been there for thousands of years that are just humongous, but you don't even know anymore from what time they've stemmed and how old they are. And some of them are dead inside, but they're still standing. Jack says, if it's gothy and witchy, I'm in. Not gothy, but sickly witchy. Like, it's an evil witch, you know, the worst kind. There's like no magic there. Like, she smiles always at you like evil. Like, you know, that smirk, the evil smirk that you also have with some characters with Twin Peaks, that kind of like laughter that's like, you know, it's like they're gonna like explode how evil they are. Florida said, I'm dead inside and still standing. Me, you and me together, Florida Sam. I can totally relate. Yeah, that kind of evil laughter smirk, like Bob from Twin Peaks, like that type of witch. That you don't wanna, you just don't wanna do it, you know. And I do believe that this one would last a long time on the skin, because it's really, really intense. And Opal Unicorn says, I love it, darling. It I love death becomes her. Yeah, we just have to ask ourselves, is this more Meryl Streep or is this more Goldie Hawn? Or is it Isabella Rossellini? No, you know what it is actually? It's more um what's her name? Oh my god. I've been live streaming for 10 hours, you guys, so sorry if I'm forgetting names now. Angelica Houston from Witches. Not Angelica Houston from the Addams Family. Angelica Houston from the Disney movie Witches. When she is the witch. Like that type of ugly. Sickly. And it could be the hag from Snow White as well. You know, the evil queen transformed into the hag. That hag, you know, that maniacal laughter, like she can't control herself even from how giddy she is to kill Snow White. I love that movie. I need this perfume, says Opal Unicorn. I mean, if you can handle Tonka Bean, again, I have my issues with Tonka Bean, so for me, it's kind of scary. But this one is not that scary. It's kind of, you know, I started off in the opening notes. It was kind of comforting because it is a warm smell as well. So I associate it to fathers and grandfathers. But the more it goes on and the more it irritates you, and then kind of just like that house from Hansel and Gretel that is so inviting and comforting, made out of candy and sweets and treats, but then inside it's dangerous. So it's also annoying because of that sweetness that the tonka bean emanates constantly. You're like at a certain point, you're like, okay, we good now, we good. But the nausea is interesting. It's an interesting, it's an elegant nauseating smell. It's not one of those, oh, it's just too sweet, get it away from me. This one is intriguing. It annoys you, but it doesn't repel you. It kind of keeps telling you, like, you're missing out, you're missing out. If you leave now, you'll be missing out. If you leave now, you'll be missing out. If you leave now, you'll be missing out, like a broken record. So it irritates you that it keeps repeating that, but at the same time, you're aware that, yeah, you will be missing out if you leave. It's a very interesting smell. Jack asks, is it the Carrie Bradshaw vomit from episode 7 of And Just Like That? Um, no, because she had a lot of alcohol that night before she puked, and this is not very etylic. The smell doesn't smell of brandy, of cognac, or any distilled liquor. It's not liquory. It's weird. It's sweet, but it has like a salty tone to it as well. And I think that maybe comes from the incense and the bergamot. They can give like a salty, well, tobacco can make something smell acidic salty, you know? Tobacco has that wet, acidic, salty undertone. I mean, I know we don't talk on this channel about panty dropper perfumes and stuff like that, but this one is very, it's sensual in a way. Dangerous because it creates a comfort zone, whoever comes close to you, that could make them feel like they're safe with you, but you could profit from that and kind of get them to do stuff that the next day they're going to be like, what just happened? It's very reassuring. Too much, you know, it's almost too safe to really be safe. It smells too alluring to be safe. It tries too hard. Fascinating, really fascinating. As we're going through this journey of getting to smell the L'Art La Matière, or the Art and the Matter collection from Guerlain, um, at first smell these, and we've been through a couple of them, right? We already reviewed Joyeuse Tubereuse, the Joyous Tuberose, and Spiritueuse Double Vanille, the Double Vanilla. We reviewed this one as well. And they do have this tendency, now I see that a picture is forming here, that at first sniff, there's a simplicity to these compositions where you might think, it's not even worth the money, they're so expensive, but they kind of don't smell special. Like, I'm paying so much money, I want something special. But then when you really sniff into them, you realize that yes, there's this kind of almost bland and boring simplicity in the surface. But underneath that surface, there's something brewing. And it's dangerous in a way. Very fascinating. Wow, what is the name? I want that. Okay, you want it's Tonka Imperiale, Vanessa. Tonka Imperiale. And I mean, the one that I've liked the most thus far is Joyeuse Tubereuse because I do love my tuberose, and the Joyeuse Tuberose also, like super simple, almost boring, and you're like, I've smelled better tuberoses for way less money. What's up? But then the more it lingers on your skin and that surface slides away, you look down there and you're like, oh my God, but everything is so subtle. And, everything's like ding, 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 bing, bing, ding, very delicate little things that shift. And they make these perfumes really work like ornate haute couture pieces because you see that things have been threaded in place and positioned with a lot of care and attention to blending detail. There is a quality to this. I would tone down the tonka just to let these other ingredients sparkle more because it's really hard to sniff them out. On my skin, at least. I'm sure that on somebody else's skin, other ingredients would kind of pop more, probably. But on me, it goes into that Cabbage Patch, soft, sweet, delicate, powdery direction. Well, it does smell as if longevity, not beast, but I can sense out how long a perfume will last on my skin already from the get-go. This one is really, it sticks. I'm sure I could get 8 to 10 hours out of this if I, did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spray. 5 sprays and you get 8 to 10 hours out of this for sure. Um, and it stays close to the skin. It's not a beast emanator. It's not a beast projector. It's kind of that thing that lures you in, and then when you're in, it kind of keeps like a witch would. It witches you. It bewitches you. Letty says, I don't know why, but I'm picturing Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct. Her character embodies a description of this perfume, in my opinion. No, Letty, you know who this is? This is Glenn Close in that other movie where she's nuts. Not Dangerous Liaisons with John Malkovich. It's her with Douglas, with Michael Douglas. Glenn Close and Michael Douglas. Fatal Attraction. Thank you, Julie. Fatal Attraction. Yes, this is Glenn Close's character in Fatal Attraction meets Angelica Houston's character in Witch or Witches, the Walt Disney movie. The first one, not the shit that they did, the remake. Fatal Attraction and Witches. Glenn Close, Angelica Houston. It's an interesting type of danger. So it doesn't warrant a full bottle purchase for me because it's very expensive and it does trouble me. This smell, it troubles me. So I would not want it around every day. So it doesn't, buying something that's like over $300 for a 100 ml bottle that I will never use up is not something that I would do. But having a sample of it really is wonderful because it does allow me to dig into it. Oh, Letty, you should watch Fatal Attraction. It is a wonderful movie, very troubling, dangerous, very dangerous. Oh, I'm Louis. It says This is going to be in the list, Dacob. Thank you so much. Oh my God, Louis. Like, I literally described an anti-perfume, and you're like, yes, Queen, I want it. It smells like horrible. I want it. And Michelle says, and they fight in a pool of Play-Doh. Well, there you have it, guys. Let's all have our little Play-Doh fun time. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for co-reviewing the perfume with me. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think about Tonka Imperiale, the Fatal Attraction meets The Witches, Glenn Close meets Angelica Houston perfume. I know a lot of you comment in the comment section saying like, oh my God, why does it take you an hour to review a perfume? Because it does. Perfumes deserve that time. They deserve the time to develop and tell a story. And in order for them to tell a story, you have to give them time. You can't force it out of them. What sort of bully are you to think that you can force it out of anybody? And if you come to this channel and you keep saying, why does it take you 20 minutes to read a perfume you can say in 1 minute? Well, you're a bully if you say that. Because if you click on a video that literally, before you click on it, already tells you that how long it is, and you don't want to watch a video that's longer than 2 minutes, then you're an idiot. Why are you clicking on a video that says that it's 40 minutes long if you want to watch a 2-minute video? Earth to imbecile. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, never forget to never give up on love. Love you all. See you soon. Take care. Bye.